Hello and welcome to Drumming Up Conversation. I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
So we're doing something a little different. We're gonna try something. I'm gonna see if I can
Yep.
figure out this video shit. Worst case scenario, I can do the audio on this anyway, but we're on
Yeah.
Zoom recording ourselves on video. Don't meet your heroes.
And we got the
We
pup
got the
here,
pup here.
and she's playing.
We
So
just had Chad Gracey on, and I don't think you realize how influential he was to me.
I didn't realize. I mean, of course, every guest we have is a big deal. I didn't realize the scope of how much it meant to you.
But you got to realize the years of the albums and when they came
Well,
out.
sure.
And even now, I still listen to radio, regular terrestrial radio, and
Yeah.
KPD, KSLX, and all that stuff. And I mean, I do Sirius XM and all. I
Sure.
listen as much as I can because anything, especially with the podcast and all that, it's just I'm just about learning.
Right.
But back then, it was all just terrestrial radio, and live was everywhere. I think live was being played on regular pop stations, even.
Probably. Well, lightning crashes for
Yeah,
sure, but
because they transcended different genres.
and
So
it's different because of our age difference, what it meant to you, what it meant to me.
yeah, and forgive me, folks, I'm not used to us being on video, so I'm looking at her more than
Right.
this is how we do
Yeah.
it usually on audio. So
Well,
I'm gonna look
it's weird
forward.
for us to have a conversation with each other like this
Yeah,
rather
for
than look
sure. So we got
at
to get
each other.
used to that
Yeah.
because I want to do YouTube, but it's tricky. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna try it. Worst case scenario, I'll at least get audio anyway,
Yeah.
because that's what we do with our conversations with our guests. But
Anyway, like I was saying, the
yeah,
difference, the dynamic between me at my age listening to live, maybe getting me through some rough patches
mhm,
in my life
yeah.
where you were using it to hone your skill.
Yeah, and I would like we were talking about before we even did this while we're waiting on the actual Chad Gracie conversation to load up and everything is I would go home from school and I would put on like throwing copper
Uh-huh.
and I would play to that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
the songs off of that, lightning crashes and we talk about it in the conversation and stuff about how I did that and we'll talk about it after. But like I Alone and stuff like that, just like his playing was just inspirational to me. And it was stuff that at that age too, it was easy for me to pick up and figure out and all
Mhm.
that, but still complicated enough to where I'm learning, my trade and learning to think outside the box. And we talked about that in the conversation about like his tom hits and he didn't necessarily like do fills into like verse to chorus and stuff like that. He did more of just the playing it different pattern and stuff. And it just taught me a different way of listening and playing and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, and now they can see the pup if we
Yeah.
do a video of this.
Here's Grenache.
Yep, there she is.
There
So
she
after
is.
you've just listened to the most recent one we did with Andrew, we talked about Grenache and
Yep.
changing her name on the spot there, and she's done a lot better with it. But anyway, yeah, this is one of those like I was, and I say it in the conversation, duck on a pond. Like from like the chest down was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, keep it cool, keep it cool, keep it cool.
They've always been one of my
So
favorite bands. Always.
yeah, and I like too that we asked him originally, like right away, like, is there anything you don't want to talk about? I was like, "No, I'm an open book, we're good." Like, all right, cool.
Cool.
So are we. Let's go.
So,
And just having that conversation and he's a co-host of his own podcast, The Gracious
two.
Two. We talk about some one of the guests they've had on, which we're a big fan of, and we'll
Yes.
talk about it in the outro.
Yeah.
Um, but that was a lot of fun going over that, and just again, like, don't listen to the "Don't Meet Your Heroes" thing. Just you know, meet them and take it for what it is because Chad Gracey's just an awesome dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those. We were So behind us, we have our CD collection, which you know what?
Oh, it's
I'll just,
excited over here.
I'll just, now that we're doing video, I'll just really quick just turn it. Like that's all of our CDs in our
It's
collection.
like a little mini
Back over
record
here, yeah,
store.
we have record player, C 5 disc changer.
All of our pops,
Yep, all of that stuff. So we have
all of our
all of that set
memorabilia.
up, and we just put on. Well, I'm like, you pick out two or three, I'll pick out two or three, and we'll just put a stack in there, and we'll just play the
Yeah,
CDs. And we put in live, and I was like,
I picked it.
and you picked it. This is mostly my collection,
Yes.
and that was part of my collection. And I was like, oh my God, like, what the hell? Why am I not? I wonder if Chad Grace is on Instagram. Holy shit, he is. Cool. Let's reach out to him. Worst case scenario, either he says no or he doesn't respond at all.
And that's what we always tell anyone that wants to podcast.
Yeah.
Um, and they ask us, well, how do you get guests? You ask. They'll either say yes, they'll say no, or you'll never hear back from them. And then your day just goes on.
By the next morning, I
You
had
get someone else.
I had a
Yeah.
response saying, yeah, I'd love to come on yours. How about we trade pods? I'm like,
Very
what?
cool.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Sweet.
awesome.
And then we just got the ball rolling, and then like usually I'm one of those that like wants to get them on sooner rather than later because because usually we're just kind of week by week, which we
Yeah.
try to stay as current as possible. I do like getting ahead, and I hated that we weren't ahead when we did the move because that sucked. Still hate having to do the best of. Not that it wasn't good, but it's just I want to, I like to always do this.
Yeah. Okay. But now I listen to like Murdered in America.
Mhm.
They like took a
I
vacation.
know,
Tori Spelling took a
but do they
vacation.
have regular jobs?
Um, no.
No. Yeah, there you go. Maybe, yeah, maybe if we didn't have regular jobs, we'd do that too, and we could do stuff like that. But it's one of those that just I want even if we won the like lottery of $500 million, I'd still want to do this weekly. This
Oh,
weekly.
yeah. The 9 to 5 job. No, the podcast, yes.
For sure. For sure. But my point is just, like just reach out. Just, I like to stay current. I like to
Good
set the
option.
date as early as possible just because I think it's easier for everyone, especially once you reach out, like, okay, we've established this. But he actually set the date more or less. He's like,
Yeah.
it's the 18th good. I'm like, shit. Like, because a lot of times too, we'll reach out to people like, yeah, I can't do it until like next month and stuff like that. And I was just really surprised by the date that was set. I'm like, that's perfect.
Or like when
Because
we had Justin Warner, he's like, I'm busy. Try me next month.
yeah,
Hit me up next month.
yeah.
And then the next month, I'm still super slammed. I'm so sorry.
Let's set a date.
Try next
Yeah.
month. And then finally it's just like, how about this date? And he's like, oh,
And that's when I learned set a date, and that's when I started doing it. But with Chad, it was just awesome because he set the date, and I'm like, I don't need a lot of time to research this, which you probably didn't even realize because you said you didn't realize how important this was to me, and it really is. Like it's a big deal, and we are talking about it off air too. It's like, if Vinnie Paul was still around, that'd be up there with Chad as well, because that was the stuff I was playing then, that was stuff I was listening to then. That was still my inspiration. That's still stuff that inspires me now, you know, 30 years later, which,
yeah,
throwing copper was 30 years ago.
I know.
So
It's crazy. So
and
fucking crazy.
it's just, and it's great too hearing how they formed and everything else, which is, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, yeah, considering Queensryche. Love Queensryche, but is there an original member?
Yeah, there's two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still like everything gets so convoluted from, lineup to lineup to lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into the episode and we'll talk
Yeah.
after. How's your day been so far?
Pretty good. I have a 50-50 custody with my kids, and I drop them off at school today, and I have the whole week free from children, so Dad
How
gets
old
to
are they?
recharge.
How old are they?
I have twin girls that are 10, and my son is going to turn 15 on Monday.
Oh, wow. Easier
Yeah.
ages.
Yeah. Yeah, for
He's
sure.
what?
Easier ages, for
Oh,
sure.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my son's he's a full-blown teenager, but he's always been a super chill, easy kid. So he's still even as a 15-year-old. He has his moments, but he's pretty good.
Yeah. Nice. Very cool. What's it like with twins?
It's I mean, they've always been their own playmates, so that
Yeah.
was great, especially when they were younger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they still are that way, but they get in some epic fights sometimes that I let go for a little bit
Just
until
walk
they
away. Yeah.
Walk
you
away.
guys work that out until dad
Yeah,
gets involved. So,
exactly.
but
So
they're all great kids. I have great kids.
yeah,
Very good.
awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So we're joined by Chad Gracey, drummer for Live, The Gracious Few, and the co-host of the Gracious Two podcast.
Thank
And
you.
we were
Yes,
talking,
yes.
yes, we were talking a few minutes before. The first thing I wrote down when I started doing research and everything was, holy shit, to have you on. Because, like, so Throwing Copper came out when I was 13 years old. So
Okay.
like, that's when I really hit my stride on getting into music. And you guys were
Oh,
on
cool.
our local KUPD station all the time. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. This the style, the way you played, how you throw the
Thank
toms
you.
in there during the, like, instead of doing fills, you would just add to the beats you were doing instead of like adding fills. And I just like that part of it where
Hmm.
you didn't have to, you could lead it in different ways than just going in and out of a fill. You could just do snare and toms and stuff like that. And it gave me a new thing to kind of listen to and I just really appreciated the playing and everything. So
Oh,
you're a
cool.
huge
Thank you. Thank
inspiration to
you.
me. So
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I got a lot of that from Larry Mullen. So he's
yeah,
he's
yeah,
my main inspiration, or one of them at least. So,
for sure.
but yeah, Tom's the just instead of filling into sections, just going right into sections sometimes. Like
Yeah.
because at the time there are we when we were younger we were really tight band and we just knew when to go. Boom. So we do it that way. But yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
Do your kids like your music?
Yes. I listen to Lithium a lot in the car, so we come on occasionally, and they're like, "Oh, it's Dad." So yeah, it's cool.
That's
And
really
they've
cool.
seen a few shows. My son actually his name is Phoenix, and he turned 10 when we were on tour with Bush in Phoenix,
Oh,
and
very
so
cool.
I had
So,
him on stage, and I brought him up on stage and had everyone sing Happy Birthday. I did the rare thing. I got out from behind the drums and got on the lead singer
oh,
mic and took over
Wow.
for a little bit.
nice.
So anyway,
So
it's cool.
that's funny because I saw you on October 19th of 2007 at Veterans Memorial.
Okay. In
So
Phoenix, yeah.
364 days, or 16 years and 364 days ago. So
Oh,
tomorrow will be the
wow. That's
17-year
crazy.
anniversary, which is just
Wow.
the timing on this, right? I just looked it up the other day. I'm like, it was 2007. I know it was October when it's like, wow, we're having you
That's
on the
wild.
day before the 17-year anniversary of that. So
That's
that's
cool. That's
really
so
cool.
cool.
Speaking of
Hey,
Phoenix,
serendipity. It worked out,
right?
right?
It's just crazy how that works. So where did you grow up and where are you based out of?
Grew up in Pennsylvania, York, Pennsylvania. That's where
Yeah.
the whole band's from. We went to middle school together, high school together, graduated together, all the good stuff. And I live in Orange County, California now. I've been here since 2005. Actually, in 95, I moved to Portland, Oregon,
Okay.
and I was there until 2005. Then I moved here, and then both instances it was for a girl.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm not moving anywhere else for a girl. That's what I've decided.
No, no, not at all.
You
It's
come to me.
yeah, for sure. No, they exactly they know where you are now. So
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
and did you grow up in a musical family?
Well, I would say no, but my mom would always say, I played the accordion. That's where you got your musical talent from. So
Okay.
shout out to Lana.
Very good.
But yeah, I mean, my family, my parents listened to music, but none of them were musicians. In fact, uh, the whole band, none of our parents were musicians. Patrick's older brother played guitar, the bass player, and yeah, Chad came from a non-musical family. Ed came from a non-musical family, so we're kind of an anomaly that way.
Yeah,
Interesting. Yeah,
interesting.
that's kind of rare actually.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
have a lot of music playing though when you were growing up?
Well, we were all in the bands, so like the school bands, but I
Okay.
played saxophone in all the school bands, and Chad played trumpet, and Ed played trumpet, and
Gotcha.
Patrick played bass and some percussion, depending on what he was doing. And we got to high school, we were in the marching band, we did that whole thing. Patrick had the best gig because, well, the first year he played he played drums. Patrick is the most talented musician in the band. He can play anything basically, any instrument. Not the greatest singer, but yeah, that's fine. But anyway, so we joined the marching band in ninth grade. He was playing bass drum,
Okay.
carrying that around. And then the second year, our sophomore year, and then every year after that, he was on the sidelines playing like bells and stuff. So he didn't have to do all the marching drills. We're like, man, like, come on, dude, fuck you. You don't have to learn these fucking marching drills and march around. You're just over there hanging out in the sidelines. Anyway, it was funny.
How did you go from saxophone to drums? Because I played trumpet in the school band and I wanted to play drums, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Justin's tried to teach me a little
So
bit, but
yeah, that's cool. Well, in fourth grade, we got to pick instruments
right.
in elementary school. And I growing up, I'd always had like an interest in drums, and I would always be banging on the back of my parents' seats in the back seat with the drum with the music on, whatever. I just always liked the drums, and like every year they would buy me a little toy drum set. I actually have a picture from 1972. My mom bought me my first drum set, which is a little toy drum set. So they buy me one every Christmas, and I would just destroy it in like 3 days. Um, but so when we got into school and we were selecting instruments, I wanted to play drums, but when we went to the high school because they had this big assembly where they had this all the different instruments had a different section and you'd walk around. And I went to the drum section and I was under the impression if you want to play drums, you got a snare drum. But no, they gave you a little pad. And I was
Oh,
like, I don't want this
nice.
stupid pad. And like sax was my second choice. I don't even know why, but so I chose sax and I played sax all through the high school, all through the school band, like I said, until I was senior. But when I was 12, which would have been about actually eighth grade, in 1985, a neighbor kid had a drum set for sale
Yeah, it's the Ruther,
at
right?
a yard sale. What's that?
Was it the Ruther kit?
That's correct. Yes,
You
yes.
got
There
it
you
from,
go.
hold on, you got it from Dave Wentz, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. You did your research.
Yes,
Love it.
I did.
Yeah, so Dave Wentz had the Ruther set on sale for $150, and I went to my mom and said, "Hey, I want to buy this," and she's like, "Well, maybe you could cash in some of your savings bonds because my grandparents would give me savings bonds every year." So I took $150 out of my savings bonds and I bought the set. And we lived in a three-story like semi-attached townhouse in York at the time, so they put me on the third floor. So I'm just up there, just putting on records and figuring it out. Like I taught myself how to play.
Okay.
Um, so I was just up there banging and banging, banging and banging, and my parents were annoyed as hell. But I remember one thing when we finally did play in front of my parents. My dad was like, "Oh wow, you can actually play drums. We just thought you were up there fucking banging around doing nothing. Like we couldn't tell you were actually playing something." So
Yeah.
so yeah, so I bought that set in '85. Was learning how to play, and our music teacher named Don Karn was our middle school music teacher. So I played sax for him. Chad played trumpet. Ed played trumpet. Patrick played bass or whatever. And he was Don Karn was giving lessons to Chad and Patrick, guitar and bass lessons. And then he heard that I was playing drums, and he said, "Hey, you three should form a band." We're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So we did our first rehearsal at his house in '85, and he was like, "You guys should, join. You should get the school talent show." So by June of '85, we had played together enough and we played the talent show and we won the talent show in our middle school. And, when you're in eighth grade and you have all the girls screaming at you, that was pretty sweet. We were like, we like this. This is fun.
It's
We won
motivation.
like $20, went to a pizza party, this is '85, so $20 went a lot farther. But
Right.
Yeah.
but we were impressed. We're like, this is fucking cool.
Nice. That's
Have all
awesome.
your peers, cheering for you.
Yeah.
And then Ed was in the audience, so he was watching us. And then him and Chad were friends from elementary school, so they went to elementary school together.
Okay.
And over that summer, Ed talked to Chad and he said, "Hey man, can I come play with you guys?" And Chad's like, "Yeah, whatever." And so he came over with under the auspices of playing guitar, but he really wanted to sing, but we didn't know that when he came. So we came to my basement, obviously, it's always the drummer's house, and we were playing in the basement and we're like, "Hey, let's play Summer of '69. It's a tune that we all kind of knew." And we were like, "Ed, you sing." So he sang and he was okay. And when he well, we finished the practice and he left and we were like, he's our singer. We just all unanimously said he's our singer. Just appointed him that. And so we went back to him and said, hey, what do you want to sing? And he's like, yes. So he joined the band, and all through high school we were doing covers until about 11th grade. We started writing our own stuff. By 12th grade, we had a bunch of originals, and we uh, were trying to find a manager. We were starting to get serious about it. We had all applied to colleges and got accepted, but we told our parents we were going to defer for a year, and so we got a manager by the end of our 12th grade year. And so when we graduated from high school in June, we had The Death of a Dictionary in our hands, our first record that we made by selling junk bonds to family. That's how we raised the money, $12,000 to make that record. Because our manager was like, I need something to manage. You gotta make a
Yeah.
demo. You gotta make a record. So we figured that out. So like I said, we graduated and we had our Death of a Dictionary cassettes in our hands. We're like, yeah, pretty cool to have your own first record.
Sure.
And then we used that to get a record deal. We started playing at CBGB's in New York City, incessantly. Like I think we played there probably 100 times or something crazy. We just go back and play whenever they would have us. We had to like get a parent to drive us, to rent a van and drive us up there, and it was interesting times. But yeah, that's kind of the synopsis of the early years.
That's crazy too, to just have like the same lineup essentially.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah,
of bands, like,
yeah,
oh, we had like four singers and three bassists, and you're like, no, we went. We
yeah.
just
I mean,
formed the band and went.
and yeah, it was interesting because U2 was our biggest influence, or one of our favorite bands, and they were
Mhm.
kind of the same way. Like they formed in school and they never changed
Yeah.
members. And Chad actually had the U2 biography at the time, and that's how he figured out we needed a manager. So um, and then we just kind of used that biography as kind of a playbook for a little bit.
Yeah.
Just walks in one day. You know what we need? We need a manager.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
yeah, and we
Right.
we and
Since we
so
have
the
the
funny the way we
manager.
got a manager was that Chad was flying to Switzerland with his family to go on a vacation, and he saw this guy get on with a keyboard. And Chad he's very outgoing. He'll talk to anybody. So he just walks up to this guy. He's like, hey, what's your deal? Like, I'm in a band. Guy's like, oh yeah. He's like, he's 17 or 18, whatever he was, 17, 16. And the guy's like, oh yeah, you're in a band? He's like, yeah. And this guy ended up being this guy named Ben King, who was a keyboard
Oh,
player and a producer.
mhm.
And so Benji King, who eventually went on to produce Death of a Dictionary, told us about, or told Chad about David Sestek. He said, you should go, this guy should be your manager. And so we just hounded David Sestek for months and months and months until he became our manager, until he said yes. We just were incessant. So it's, as they say, you got to persevere. So we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Who named the band? And did you have that name in high school?
No, our first name was, when we did the talent show, the school talent show, was First Aid. That was our first name. And then between First Aid and Public Affection, which we named ourselves in like 11th grade, because I was kissing this girl I had a big crush on, and she in the hallway, and she's like, I hate Public Affection. I'm like, that's our fucking name. That's cool. So, but before that, we were like Club Fungus and Bad Order Boys, Mob. We were some stupid names we had. Action Front. We were Action Front for a while, and Action Front actually became the name of our very first corporation that actually still owns the trademark.
Oh, cool.
So that's still a company. But so we made Death of a Dictionary on Public Affection, and we actually were still Public Affection when we made Mental Jewelry. And our record company president, a guy named Gary Kurfirst, who had signed us to our deal, he came to us and he was like, listen, record's great, but we're not putting this out as Public Affection. You got to change your name. And you have 2 weeks to decide, because they're going to print the record in 2 weeks. We're like, fuck. So I think Chad had a dream where he saw Live on a hat, but we put a bunch of names in a hat actually and drew them out, and we drew out Live.
Okay.
So that's how we got Live. And that was obviously before the internet. So when the internet came, everyone's like, we can't search your name because everything else is live. We're like, yeah, we know.
Yeah.
No.
Was
We didn't
there
foresee the
one
internet.
person that pulled it out and went, live?
Live.
Yes, exactly. We were like, no, it's live. That's why we had to put the accent over the I.
Yeah, I'm sure putting like, posters out for live was interesting too. Like, All right.
Yeah, it's been interesting. Actually, when our Mental Jewelry charted on in Billboard,
Mhm.
and the first week it was on there, it was listed as the band name as Mental Jewelry, and the record was called Live. They
Oh
reversed it.
no.
So yeah,
Oh no. Yeah. Well, it worked out.
it worked out. Yes.
Yeah. So, other than Larry Mullen, who were some of your other influences growing up? Like when you're playing like to the records and stuff, what were you playing?
Yeah. Early it was Larry Mullen. Obviously, well, the very first record that I played to was Beatles. So and I always fail to do this, but I gotta mention Ringo Starr.
Oh,
Obviously, he's
yes.
a
Yeah.
huge
Oh,
influence.
huge.
You
Yeah.
know, sort of I guess subconscious influence on just about every drummer out there because
Yep.
he's like the first big rock drummer with the Beatles, obviously. So Ringo Starr, Larry Mullen, and then I was in my room in like 11th grade and I was listening to like Sting put out his first solo record, and yeah, now I forget the guy's name. This was a Manu Katché who played with
Oh,
Sting.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's who it was. I was playing a lot of, so I was playing along with the Sting record. I think it was called Dream of the Blue Turtles, and learned a lot of like ghost notes and stuff from that drummer.
Yeah.
I keep saying Manu Katché, but it could be someone else. I need to look that
Sounds
up.
right. But yeah.
But and then so I was listening to that, and then listening to Duran Duran,
Okay.
and there was the record they put out without Roger Taylor on drums. It was I think it was Steve Ferrone, could have been,
Oh, okay.
I believe. And then Power Station we were listening to because that we were Duran Duran fans.
Right.
So when Power Station started, we'd listen to that. That was a freaking great record. So that drummer influenced me a lot as well. And these are a lot of songs that we were covering,
Okay.
obviously. So we're covering a lot of INXS, Duran Duran, Cure, Smiths, REM. REM's a big influence as well. Bill Berry's an influence too, for sure.
On a little side note, have you heard The Cure's new album?
I have not heard it yet. Is it good?
It's really good. It's
Cool. I'll check it
good.
out.
Yeah.
I'd like to check it out. Yeah, I like The Cure.
And you said you played in drumline. Did you do school band or just the drumline?
I did not play in drumline. No,
Oh, you did not play
I
drum. Oh,
played
you played school
saxophone in all
band.
the high school. Yeah, played
Okay.
saxophone in all the
Gotcha.
school
Gotcha.
bands.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So you
Yeah,
didn't.
all the drumline drummers didn't think I was a real drummer because I didn't play drums in the drum line. They knew I played drums,
Okay.
but they were like, whatever. They kind of dismissed me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Did you ever
Well,
go back to any school
yeah. Yeah.
reunions?
No, I've never been to reunions, but I saw a lot of those guys after we became big or here and there, and they
Right.
would be like, "Oh my God,
Then
we
all
didn't
of a
even know you
sudden
could
you
play
were a great
drums, dude."
drummer. Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to
yeah,
be an honorary snare drum now?
yeah, exactly, yeah.
You enjoy
Yeah,
it.
but it's funny because all the drumline guys were really into Rush, and I wasn't listening to Rush then.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have immense respect for Neil Peart. Obviously,
That's
he
my
is a
guy.
machine. He
So
was the
yeah.
man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, amazing, amazing. But I just wasn't into Rush at the time. I was into U2 and like alternative, whatever you want
Which
to
is
call it, new wave
crazy
alternative.
because a lot of your playing, especially on like I Alone and stuff, very sounds very neat what Neil was doing at that time too,
Mm.
which is kind of crazy. So
Well, yeah, I guess it was
like the
subconscious,
counter,
but it was
yeah.
cool because in '92 or '93, he gave me a shout out in Rolling Stone. He was doing an interview and he just talked
Good.
about
Yeah, I remember
ASO.
that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
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 And so
Yeah.
I was obviously very honored by that.
Mm.
And then to go back and have all the school drummers who thought I was a shit drummer have Neil Peart mention me. They
Yeah.
were like,
See, you're putting that.
Double fingers at him and everything.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Is
So
your name
it was
mentioned
pretty
in
cool.
anything? I didn't see your name anywhere. Hot
That's
shot.
right.
What's your name? So, any fun tour stories, Spinal Tap moments? Because we love hearing about those too. Like anything,
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, let's see. Fun tour stories. There's a lot of
Drum
fun tour stories.
City, shout it out, anything like that? Anything fun?
No, we were always pretty good at knowing where we were. I mean,
Good.
especially me. I don't think I'd ever shouted out the wrong city name. We did get lost going to some stages sometimes in like
Okay.
theaters. You're underground. You're like, where the fuck do we go? There's definitely that. Um, I don't know. We had a beef with Marilyn Manson that was pretty epic. It was fucking
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a long one, so I'll tell it, but I'll try to
Yeah.
condense as much as
Yeah.
possible. So we were opening for Marilyn Manson in Europe in like 2002 or something like that, 2001, 3, somewhere in there. And we were on tour with them and we did Germany first with them and we were having fun and we were like, oh yeah, and Brian was perfectly nice. The whole band was cool. And we did a few shows where they were the headliner, and then we did a couple festivals, and we did this German festival. I think it was outside of Frankfurt. And so we decided we had not really stayed and watched them play because we were just exiting the venue. We played and then we get off the stage, get on the bus and go next city. So at this festival, we're staying overnight in that city. So we're like, hey, let's, Ed, myself, and my cousin Matt Gracey has been our tech forever, and he was with us. He's my first cousin. Everyone always thinks he's my brother. But so the three of us stayed back to watch the show. Okay, so we're on the side of the stage watching the show. We had already played, obviously, and Brian had like this shtick where he would get pissed off at his monitor man and you know like get all pissed off and like yell at him and like make all these gestures and stuff. So and he started doing that to the monitor man, and we're like, oh, it's part of the show apparently. So, but then he just walks off stage, right? So he leaves, and for about 5 minutes, everyone's like, yeah, he's gonna come back, and then 10 minutes goes by and he's not coming back. And in about 15 minutes, his manager comes to Ed and he says, Ed, hey man, will you go out and tell the crowd that Brian's coming back? Just has had something off and he will be back. So Ed's like, okay. So he walks out center stage on the mic. Hey everybody, Brian's coming back. It's sorry about this, blah blah blah. And everyone's like, okay, cool. So another half an hour goes by, he's not coming back, right? And now the crowd's starting to get pissed the fuck off. So they start getting antsy. Some of them start coming on stage, and a lot of them start coming on stage, and all hell's breaking loose. And they're starting to like take equipment and throw it off the stage and like get fucking crazy. And so Ed, Matt, and I look at each other. We're like, we gotta get the hell out of here. So we go out to. We're walking out to our van. And here come the German riot police in full regalia, like all the fucking shields, everything. They're coming in. We're like, oh my God, we got to get the hell out. So it ended up the whole stage got fucking burnt down. There was a riot.
My
All Marilyn Manson's gear got destroyed. It was freaking crazy, right? So, but we didn't know this at the time. So we just left. We're like, okay, well, we got to get the hell out of here. And so we then went to England. We went to London by ourselves to play a show by ourselves over there, a couple shows. And I'm going to mention this. It'll become germane later in the story. But I was walking down the street and I saw Rose McGowan, who Brian was dating at the time, but she was by herself. So I was like, oh, mental note. So we rejoined the tour with them, and actually we're doing a festival with them now in Brussels, outside of Brussels.
Okay.
It's called Werchter. It's called,
Okay.
and we were going on after Marilyn Manson on this one because we were bigger in Belgium than they were, whatever. But so Marilyn Manson is playing, and he's out there. We can hear him on the mic. He's like, "Live's a bunch of fucking pussies," and he's fucking going off about us. And we're like, "What we do?"
right.
Jeez.
So it ends up, we find out that this is when we find out that their whole stage got burned down, all their gear got destroyed, and he's blaming Ed for this, not his manager who told Ed to go out, but Ed. So he's pissed off at us, and so we're like, well, that's crazy. Like we didn't do anything wrong. Like, so he's out there bitching about us, and so we had this keyboard player at the time named Michael Railton, he went by Raylo. He's from Liverpool. So he didn't fuck around. So he's like, oh, he's gonna mess with live. So he goes over and literally urinates in all their clothing road cases, like just pisses out.
That's awesome.
And then there's a phone call from the Pennsylvania State Police that Ed's mom's in an accident, which is bullshit. So this is all. So Marilyn
Really?
Manson started playing. Yeah, this is fucking hilarious.
Wow.
That's
So we just go on stage and we play our show. And we don't say anything. And so we part ways on the tour again. Then we come back for one last show in Austria, and the venue had this setup where it was like these old train cars on train tracks for the dressing rooms behind like a tented stage, right?
Huh.
And so obviously now we know we're at odds with Marilyn Manson, right?
Yeah.
And so we're sitting in our dressing room. We have our security guard was with us at the time, and they had a security guard. And so their security guard comes over and he says, "Hey guys, we played first, so we already went on. Now Marilyn Manson has to come on and walk right by our dressing room to go on stage because we just happened to be in that dressing room." And so their security guard comes over and says, we're trying to be cool. We know some tension, so you guys need to be cool. And we're like, yeah, we're gonna be cool, no problem, man. Whatever. We didn't do anything. And so Patrick decides to he finds an envelope and a condom and he spits in it and he puts it in the envelope and he writes a note saying, Rose left this in my hotel room.
Oh my
And he
God.
gives it to the security guard who gives it to the tour manager who gives it to Brian. And you hear Brian over there going, motherfuckers. And he's throwing shit in his dressing room going off. We're like, this is great. So so they had to walk right by us to go on the stage and they're giving us the finger and telling us fuck you and saying all this shit, but their tape is rolling. So we're fucking with them now, but their tape's going, so they have to go
You
on
have to
stage.
go
We're just
on.
like,
Yeah.
whatever, dude. So we're just fucking with them and Twiggy, the bass player at the time, he leans down off stage, he's like, I'll kill your mother. And Patrick's like, my mom's already dead. Whatever, you know. And she wasn't. She wasn't,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
it was
yeah,
just yeah, that's Patrick's,
yeah.
Right.
I probably would have said that too, just
right.
'cause what are you gonna do now? So
Yeah.
yeah.
So that ended that episode of the TIFF.
Wow.
But so like 2 years later, we're in LA at the used to be called the Whiskey Bar at the Sunset Marquis Hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where everyone would always hang out. So we're there. It's me, Ed, Tom, Rob, who's the security guard who was there for that whole thing. I don't know if Chad and Patrick were there. But so we're drinking inside the bar, and they have there's an outside area where people go out and smoke, whatever. And so we walked out there, Ed smoking, and Tom and I are just hanging out having drinks. And then while we're out there, the Marilyn Manson crew rolls in. It's like Twiggy, the bass player, and Marilyn Manson, security guard, a couple other people. And Twiggy decides to come out and like get in Ed's face with the three of us standing there. We're like, I don't know if you know what Twiggy looks like. Twiggy is a
Yeah.
fitting name for him. He's a small guy. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you're a tough guy. Okay. So he comes out and he, you know, he he goes up to Ed and he's like, they start exchanging word and he says something like, I'll slit your throat. And Ed's like, and then so Ed gets down on the ground and in front of him and and takes Twiggy's hand and starts, you know, like sawing it across the back of his neck going, and he's like, go ahead, do it, slit my throat. And Tom and I are on either side of Twiggy in his face going, do it, do it, like yelling at him, and he's like, ooh, ooh. So he gets all flustered. He runs back inside, and now Ed's fucking pissed. So Ed gets up and walks inside, and right at that moment, like out of a movie, the lights come on in the whole bar because it's like last call.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Ed jumps up on a couch and he's like, you're the fucking darkness and we're the fucking light and fuck you. And so he's going off on them. And so security from the bar comes in and escorts them out, gets them out. No fights. And then so we continue to have our drinks and we close down the bar. And then the next night we're back there and the Metallica guys come in. Not Lars, James and Kurt come in. And James sees Ed and he's like, dude, I heard about last night. That's fucking awesome because there's no love lost between Metallica and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, for sure.
Together something and some shit
Yeah.
went down. So James was all impressed with that. He's like, dude, that's fucking awesome. So
Well, and I know
that's the end of the story.
James takes that kind of stuff personal too with the Guns N' Roses thing that happened to them too.
Oh yeah.
When Guns N'
Oh, yeah.
Roses totally screwed that up. Kind of the
Oh,
same
yeah.
situation where it's like, what the hell, man? Just come out and play your show. Like,
Well, yeah, Guns N' Roses were notorious for
No.
going
I
on
thought
super
that-
late.
Yeah.
no. What's that?
So they were notorious for going on super late because
Yeah, and
Axel would just be like,
after
okay, now I'm ready.
and after James was burned and all that stuff, all they had to do
Yeah.
is come out and play, and they didn't. He's like, I'm not
Right.
going out there. It's not our time to
Mhm.
play. And so I know I'm sure James caught wind of what happened with you guys, and is like, first
Oh,
of all,
yeah.
this didn't even have to happen.
Right.
You were
Exactly.
was just doing what he was told to do, which he
Yeah.
shouldn't have had to do anyway. The manager should have gone out and done
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
could've
Obviously,
all
the
been
manager
avoided.
didn't go to Brian and say, I told Ed to go out there. Why would
Yeah,
he do that?
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, that's a crazy story.
It
And,
is.
like, especially that much later and everything too, still going on. So
yeah, it was wild.
you guys are just trying to do the right thing. That's
It was fun.
well, that was a little more than I expected from asking that question, but
I know
Yeah.
it's a
thank
little
you,
long, but
because-
it's good. It's a good story.
no,
That's a good story.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's because I've heard mixed things with Marilyn Manson and that crew and everything too, and just
Yeah, I think they go through the world with that, like, well, we're dark and we're evil and people are scared of us, and we're just like, you're
So was
you're a
Alice
geek.
Cooper, but he's a super nice guy.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Well, my point is like you're Brian, you're just a geek from Florida. Like
yeah,
we're not afraid of you.
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just it's a persona. You have to be like that with everybody. Just yeah,
Right. Yeah.
turn it off, man. Just turn it off. It's good. It's good on stage. Turn it off. So
Hmm.
so my next question is, do you still play?
Here and there, yeah. I have my YouTube channel. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
that.
I've seen that.
Um,
I watched you play
I mean,
Lakini's Juice. Because that's probably my favorite of any of the songs you've done. I love most of, if not everything
cool.
you've done, but that one's the one that like is a like 13, 15-year-old, whatever, really stuck out to
Yeah.
me because I was really getting into like the metal side of music and stuff, and that's
Okay.
probably your
You
most
hear
metal
that song
song.
and you know what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially
Definitely
once
one of our
you're
hardest
done.
songs. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that drum.
So yeah, I'm doing the videos. Uh, a friend of mine here is in a band, so he's writing some songs. He occasionally asks me to come in and play drums. But other than that, no, I'm not playing a whole lot.
Okay.
Do you miss it?
No,
No?
I don't miss being on the road. I don't. Even at the height of our touring, when we were playing a lot, like when I would go home, I wouldn't play just because I wanted to rest my body.
Yeah.
So fortunately, I've never had any like carpal tunnels or any problems with my hands or arms, other than you know, uh, severing my tricep tendon 90%. But that was a whole other
Ooh,
story.
yeesh.
Do you
I
have
can
a
tell that
drum
story too.
kit at your house?
I do not know.
No?
No.
We
All
had
my drums are back in Pennsylvania, so I go back to Pennsylvania like once a month on average, and I go sit down and play a little bit when I'm there.
we had Casey Grillo on the show before too, and he doesn't keep drums at his house either.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. People find that to be like a weird thing, but I, as I, as I've said, I just didn't want to play when I was home, so I didn't
Yeah.
bother having a drum set.
Did you have a favorite song to play when you were playing with live?
Bikinis is one of those. White
Okay.
Discussion.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I Alone I like playing. What else? Yeah, those. I mean, those three are probably my favorite
Okay.
to rock out to.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Iris. Forgot Iris. I like playing
Iris,
Iris.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I have a geeky question to ask you about lightning crashes.
Hmm.
What inspired what were they? Hot rods, right? I think there was the
Yeah.
name. What inspired you to use those on that song?
Um, I picked those up because the song just seemed to be uh it was like a lighter song, I guess you would say. So
Okay.
I wanted a lighter feel in the drums for it.
Okay.
And
Just curious.
I
Because it
went through
fits perfectly. It's just great. But I'm just
thank
curious,
you.
one of those, because I know it was they kind of came out around the same time as you guys were recording that too, I think, was when
Right.
they got
Yeah.
real
I
hot.
forget
No
I
pun
forget when I
intended,
heard
but
about them the first time because I used them on Throwing Copper. I used them on TBD, the song
okay.
TBD, and I used them on Lightning Crashes.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't remember the first time that I heard about them because I wrote that song with Hot Rod, so
Yeah.
I
Okay.
wrote the drum part with Hot Rod. So
And I know you put rubber bands at the end of it too, because they kept popping apart, right?
yeah, well, it's I use like black gaffer tape, just put a little
Oh,
section.
okay.
Yeah, because I
Gotcha.
mean, yeah, they would just disintegrate otherwise really
Especially
fast through a show.
on that ride cymbal, they would just
Yeah,
come apart. Because I played them too. Because I when I was playing, because I played a lot of your stuff when I was a teenager,
cool. Okay.
and I would try to mimic as best I could. So I actually went and bought Hot Rod
Oh,
stick
sweet.
to
Hmm.
play that song because I wanted to
Oh,
play it
cool.
how it's supposed to be played. And yeah, I kept having that problem where like the first time I'd go through it, I'd be on the right side. I'm like, this isn't gonna work because
Yeah, it
I
was
want to
just
keep
yeah,
playing. And so I was like, I wonder what happens. And I just started researching. I saw people were doing like extra rubber bands or thicker rubber bands or even tape and stuff like that. I was like,
hmm
okay, cool. So
yeah. It was also practical for me because I play barefoot, and
yes, yeah,
those little splinters break off, and they have sharp points on them. So I didn't
yeah,
want to step on those things.
Yeah.
gotcha. So, you mentioned on Live from My Drum Room with John DeChristopher, which is where I did a lot of my research, that you were
Cool.
trying to get Silver Sparkle back. Were you able to get Silver Sparkle?
I haven't really worked on it, to tell you the
Okay,
truth. It's still
gotcha.
sitting in England somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious because I think that was a few months ago or whatever when you did that, and I was like, huh,
Yeah.
ask him if gotten any further on that one. So
No, unfortunately not. I always forget about it, to tell you the truth. I
yeah,
gotta talk to my one of our old truck drivers has inroads with the people that have it stored. So I've had talked to him about it. We just never pulled the trigger on it yet. So he was trying to figure out uh, a group that was shipping a whole bunch of shit back from Europe because when you ship stuff to and from Europe, you have something called a carnet, which is like
Mhm.
you have to specify what's in each thing, for
The
international law,
dimensions
whatever.
and the weight and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was trying to figure out someone that had a carnet that had some space on it or whatever, so they could just throw those drums in and ship them back. But we haven't done that yet.
Was it just a touring kit, or did you record some albums with it, or?
Um, did I record? I might have recorded Distance to Here with that with that set. I definitely toured Distance to Here with that set. I'm trying to remember if I recorded with it. But yeah, it was mostly touring for Distance to Here, and then a few records after that.
Okay. I just love that geeky stuff with all that. So I just like hearing what people used on certain things, and because that to me is always so important to me. So is what was used, the snare drums or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I keep getting questions about snare drums used on like Secret Samadhi and stuff, and we had like a ton of snare drums brought in for that record, so I don't remember what I use on each song.
Yeah.
Like throwing copper mental jewelry, I was using these pearl free floating piccolo snares because I just
Okay.
love the crack, and
Yeah.
so I know what I used on those records. But every record after that, I kind of don't know what snares I use on each. I'm sure my cousin wrote it down somewhere, so he probably has a notebook with it in literally, but yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Outside of music and everything, what do you like to do on downtime?
I like to go hiking. I'm a gamer. Like to do that. Um, watch a ton of YouTube videos. I like going down rabbit holes, conspiracy theories if you like.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Cool.
learning about stuff. And yeah, I mean I like alternative ancient history, like just stuff like talking about the Sphinx is probably older than they say it is because of the
Right.
water erosion around the enclosure. Just that kind of shit. Like I love that stuff. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with Graham Hancock. Like I like to follow him a lot. He's kind of a alternative history guy.
Okay.
Um, and I listen to Joe Rogan podcast all the time. He was just on it yesterday. Um,
Okay.
so
All
yeah,
right.
just
He's
stuff
a
like that.
great podcaster.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
He's
Yeah.
a great host.
Yes. Yeah, you think he just got lucky doing it, but he's actually a great interviewer. He's very intelligent. He asks great questions.
And he
Yes.
And
listens a lot. He listens
Yes.
yeah,
very well.
Because
yes.
when we're starting this, I was like, all right, I need to like figure out how to do things. And it's like I like to have my notes, but I never see him with any kind of notes. It's just
Mm-mm.
No, I don't think he
but
uses
just
notes.
everyone he has on is just like, how do you like what is in your head? Like how do you come up with this? And just like you can go on like just take it 180 and go a different direction, and it just
Yeah,
flows. Like you just all of a sudden you're
it's
2 hours
amazing.
in. Like, it didn't feel like 2 hours at all. Like
Oh, I know that's the crazy thing about podcasts in general. It's like,
yeah,
the whole prevailing theory was that everyone's watching shorts and all this stuff, and their focus has gone down, and people don't want to look at things too long. But then 2, 3 hour, 4 hour podcasts are huge. So what's that
yeah.
tell you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and it's great for work too,
Yeah.
if
Hmm.
you're able to listen to stuff at work because you can just it's not like a song where you don't want to pause it in the middle of the song, but you can pause it in the middle of a podcast and do something and come back to it and pick
Oh
right up
yeah.
where you left off. So
And
Yes, absolutely. I listen to them a lot in the car.
yeah.
segueing into podcasts, you have your own podcast with John
Mhm.
Bertolo. How did you two meet, and what made you decide to do a podcast?
So John is a longtime live fan, and he has a great story where he came to see us at the Starland Ballroom in New Jersey, and he was there with his girlfriend, who then became his wife, and his mother, who was also a live fan. And we played the show, and his girlfriend and mom got backstage somehow, and he didn't. So he goes to security, and
So it
he's
was like
like,
the rock star movie. Have you seen that movie?
basically, yeah, yeah.
Where
'70s
his,
So
show.
where
he
his brother can't come in. He's like, I'm with them.
Basically, yeah, yeah. So John's not backstage, and his mom, he knows his mom and his girlfriend are back there. So he finally talks. John's a good talker, so he talks to the security guard. He's like, "Listen, my mom is in there, and my girlfriend's in there. can you let me in so I can go get him? Whatever. And so the guy lets him in. So he comes in and he comes in the dressing room, and then we had a bunch of people in there anyway. So we're like, hey, what's up, dude? So he's like, have you seen an older woman who's my mom and like another girl's my girlfriend? And we're like, they might be in the closet with Patrick smoking weed. So that's where they were.
Oh, the girlfriend's going that room down there.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's so.
lots of people's girlfriends are back here.
Yeah, it happens. It
Pull the
happens. But
Winkler
so he
thing.
finds them and they leave, and he was a little miffed at them, but not us. But so he told me that story, and I was just like, that's fucking hilarious. And I kind of remember that story, like vaguely in my mind, like, yeah, I remember some guy coming and looking for his girlfriend and his mom. And so he has a podcast called Good Times Universe, and he's, like I said, super live fan. So he invited me on that podcast a couple of times. The second time after we did it, he's like, we seem to have a good rapport. Like, would you want to do a podcast with me? And I'm like, yeah, I never even thought about that. Fuck yeah, let's do that. That sounds fun. And so we're now on I think our 60th show. Well, next Tuesday will be our 60th show. We do it every Tuesday live, like you guys know, because you're
Yeah.
coming on. So that's gonna be fun.
Yes, thank you.
So yeah, so he just asked me to do it. I'm like, yeah, it sounds cool. Let's do that. So we didn't really talk about what the format was going to be. We're just like, let's just get on bullshit. So that's what we do. We get on bullshit. We talk about current events and obviously the election, which is, the big thing right now, whatever. And then we did like 4 or 5 shows and I was like, well, let's have a guest. So I started looking for, like, I'm friends with some live fans on Instagram and Facebook. So I was just like, hey, so and so, you want to come on the show and talk about how you were introduced to the band and any stories with the band, people you've met through the band. And they're like, yeah. So we have guests on. So we'll do like 15 minutes of bullshitting. And then, 15 minutes in, we'll have the guests come on and we'll talk to them about whatever they want to talk about. And it's kind of free flow. So
Yeah,
it's
That's
fun.
what ours is too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've been very lucky with a lot of the guests we've got, especially with you.
Mm.
We know you had Larry Hankin on, which we're
Yes.
big fans of.
Mm.
Big fans of Billy Madison. It's that's getting near the season for planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
yeah, that
Yeah,
that
he was cool. That was fun.
yeah,
John got him. Yeah, John had a connection for him.
that's really cool. Yeah, that's got to be one of those that's just really fun to talk to someone that has. Was he on Seinfeld too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on Seinfeld. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so him and Dave Cruzen are probably our most famous people we've had so far
Yeah.
on the podcast. We're
Nice.
working on
Yeah,
some others, but yeah.
for sure. It's what we've learned is just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple as
Yes.
that.
They're
Yep.
either going to say yes, no, or you'll never hear back from them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't hurt to ask.
It
No,
doesn't
only
not
say
at
no
all.
and-
Not at all. And case in point right here. So
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
yeah.
We have friends that are starting a podcast and we're like, reach out to this person, reach out to this person. I'm like, I don't know. We're like, just ask.
Just ask.
Just
Yeah.
ask.
Because they're like, who should we have on? I'm like, we're giving them. I'm like, just ask them. Like,
So what if you never meet them? So what if they say no? You're never going to meet them anyway. So
yeah,
it's like no sweat up your nuts.
Yeah. So yeah, that's I think that's a problem with a lot of people in life is that they're just afraid to either fail or have no told to them. It's like that's how you progress and like
yeah.
move through
Just
life
jump.
and get better.
Jump. You
Yeah,
might fly.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, obviously I learned that early on being in a band from York, Pennsylvania. Like no one thought we were gonna make it. So
yeah,
except for us.
yeah, and that's all that matters at that point. Early on,
Yeah.
that's all that matters, and
Oh my
then
God.
other people start believing in you.
When we had our
Yeah.
first guest, it was from it was a host of a Rush podcast.
Okay.
And
Cool.
we were on Zoom and we were on the free version of Zoom and we didn't know there was a 30-minute limit. And all of a sudden it pops up on our computer
Oh.
screen. It's like our time's almost
You've got
up.
5
We're like,
minutes. I'm
oh
like,
shit. Shit.
I gotta wrap this up.
yeah.
That's funny.
So I'm trying to be still relaxed with it without feeling like we're rushed because I don't want to just say anything. And I'm like, oh God, like a duck on a pond. I'm like going crazy underneath, but I'm trying to stay calm above the water. And
Hmm.
finally we got done. I'm like, I'm so sorry, we didn't know. I'm like, that's never happened again. It's like, well, it's not like it's expensive. It's one of those, like, they should tell you ahead of time, like, hey, just let you know the free one is only 30 minutes of content.
Right. Yeah. You think there'd
Then I
be
was
some
like,
kind
let's
of
just pay for
disclaimer.
it. Yeah.
Right.
And all of a sudden, 5 minutes, like, oh shit. Like we don't know how to do any of this stuff. I'm beyond, like, I'm too old for like this, technology thing. Like,
Mhm.
I have to do research before I do anything anymore. I'm not
Yeah.
like these kids that just come out of the womb and they know how to use a phone and stuff. I
Oh,
don't
exactly.
All
Yeah.
these TikTok sensations, like,
like,
okay.
like I'm
Yeah.
still,
John works in IT, so he knows about all this stuff. So he handles all the streaming and everything. So
yeah,
I'm
because
grateful
like,
I have a good partner like that.
yeah, because I want to do YouTube, but it's like we do intros and outros to things. Like we do the conversation first, then we'll do the intro and outro. I'm like, I don't know how to put the intro, the conversation, and the outro all together in one thing. I got to figure out how to edit all that. And I
Right.
can do audio all day because I've been playing music since I was a kid and recording at home and stuff like that. I know how to do all that, but video is a totally different monster.
Yeah.
So,
I've never even tried to edit video, so I
yeah,
wouldn't even know where to begin.
I don't either. So, you talked about gaming. What kind of games do you like to play?
I mean, I play PS5 mostly, but I like shooters. Actually, my son got me into Minecraft, which is funny because we used to play that all the time together.
Okay.
He doesn't really play it that much anymore, so I play that occasionally. But like Call of Duty, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
There's a franchise called BioShock that I really like that they haven't put out a game for like 5 years, so I'm waiting for them to put out the next version. Um, and I play some stuff on my computer, like Civilization on my computer, on my laptop, I should say.
Okay.
And yeah, just that kind of stuff. I don't like online gaming. Like I tried that. I had
I
a
don't either.
PS2. Yeah, I had a PS2, I think was the first version of the PS
Mhm.
of the PlayStation you could go online and play.
Yeah.
And I went online to play either uh probably Call of Duty, an early version of that. It was some shooter game. I can't remember which one. But I put on the headset, I go online, and I'm getting fucking slaughtered by these 12-year-olds, and they're
Yeah.
And
fucking
then
talking
they
shit,
talk
and I'm
shit to
Yeah.
you.
Like,
Yeah.
dude,
yeah,
you fucking suck.
oh
Why are
yeah,
you even on here? Like, I'm playing on like 3 hours a day. Give me a break, dude.
right,
I'm not sitting in my basement playing 23 hours a day and sleeping for one. Yeah, I had
exactly.
that problem too. I'm like, people are dicks. I'm not doing this ever again. And
Yep,
you have to pay to be treated like
yeah.
this. You gotta
I'm
pay
My
playing
extra.
kid,
paying to be abused. I was like,
Fuck
yeah, I
that.
did that one time, and I'm like, I'm not
Yeah.
fucking going online,
Same
and
thing.
and
She
I've
was sitting
never,
right next to me. I was playing
yeah,
Mortal Kombat and I was getting my ass kicked. I'm like, and then she's like, you fucking suck, dude. I'm like, you know what, you little shit, go to hell. And I was like, I'm done. I'm never doing this again.
uh,
Like,
yeah. That was like the earliest version of keyboard warriors. They can
yeah,
just talk shit to
yeah,
you. There's nothing you can
yeah,
do about it.
exactly. I
So
just, I'm
yeah, ever since that, I've never gone online and played again, ever.
same, same. Yep. Or if I do, I'll just do the single thing. I will never join up with people. I'm like, I'll get my ass kicked by myself. It's fine.
Right. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
to remain anonymous.
Yeah. Have you played Red Dead Redemption at all?
Actually, my son got me that not too long ago, and I started playing it. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
weeding through the.
That's
awesome
I'm
game.
playing two. I didn't play the first one.
Yes, I didn't either. I'm playing two as well. She'll watch me play that. That's the problem. Is she'll watch me play it, so there's no problem there. She's like, "This is just amazing to watch." I'm like,
Hmm.
That or Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah, yeah. GTA is hilarious.
I will lose a weekend on those two games for sure. Yeah. So,
Uh-huh.
and she'll encourage it too, which doesn't help. She's not over there like, "Hey, babe, you need to stop playing." And she's just sitting there next to me eating popcorn or whatever. Like this, yeah, you're good. Like,
Yeah, because the character Trevor,
Uh-huh.
Justin plays as Trevor quite a bit, and we took him to a clothes store and we bought him a dress. And he keep going
Nice.
out on all these sprees in a dress, and it just cracks me up. I don't
Yeah,
know
that
why I
that
get so
and
much
that's
entertainment out of that.
oh yeah, that's funny because like you're doing a thing that's like really popular now is to watch people play games
oh,
on
really?
YouTube.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even.
Oh, I mean, my son was into that for a long time. He would just watch people play games on YouTube. I'm like, what is this? He's like, oh,
Yeah.
this guy's playing Minecraft. I'm just watching him. I'm like, well, just go play Minecraft. Like, why the
Yeah.
fuck are you watching this guy?
Right.
I'll watch
Yeah.
it if I
And
need
then
to
I,
figure out how to beat something, but other than
I'll
that,
watch
right,
it in my living room, but I'm not gonna go online to watch it.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, people literally do it for entertainment. In fact, I know a guy here in Orange County who I used to live near, and he's the COO of a company called Esports Arena. And their whole thing was they would fill arenas with people watching people play video games.
Wow.
Same with
It's a
Minecraft
fucking
idea.
sport.
unwrapping gifts and
Right.
unwrapping
Yeah, that too.
boxes,
Yeah.
and people are watching that.
Yeah. Oh, my girls got really into that. They were watching those forever. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
crazy.
Hmm.
So, for the podcast, has it always been a live video format?
Yes.
Okay.
It's from day one. It was John's idea because he had done the podcasting thing with Good Universe, and it was not live. He was like, no one really does this, so I want to try this out. Like, we'll just do it live every Tuesday. I'm like, okay, sounds good. And but we do it live every Tuesday, and then usually once a week or once every other week we do a live Instagram as well.
Oh, okay.
Get on there. Yeah.
Nice. 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 Very cool. So I have some rapid fire I like to do with my fellow drummers.
Okay.
Um, and it's not like you have to answer it quickly. It's just more of it's a direct question kind of a thing. So there's not
Got
much
it.
to it. Favorite rudiment?
Oh, the only one I really know is paradiddle. I don't know rudiments.
That's my favorite too. It,
Yeah.
it, it applies to the drum set more than any other rudiment. So,
Right.
and I already know this answer because I watched the John DeChristopher, but click or no click?
I prefer no click.
Yeah, same.
Prefer no click.
And
The
I think you
last,
said, and I think you quoted as "fuck the click" when you were recording, and you were talking
yes,
to him. So I
yes.
appreciated that.
I just saw Butch Vig tell a great story about making Nevermind with
Okay.
Nirvana, and there's one song on there. What the fuck is it? Is it Lithium? There's one song where Dave had to use a click because like they started out slow and he would always speed up when he came in.
Okay.
And they were like, "This isn't working." And and Butch had to finally go to him and say, "Hey, can we try a click on this?" And Dave was like, "Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess we can." And so he did it, and they recorded the song that way. And they came back to Butch, and he said, "When you asked me to use a click, that broke my heart because he didn't want to use a
Yeah.
click. He was
Yeah.
anti-click."
Yeah.
I
That's
think
your
all
job.
drummers, like in our kind of generation, we were all anti-click, or at least
Yes. Yeah.
all the rock drummers I knew. I think everybody's on click now.
Yeah.
It seems like it,
Which,
except Foo Fighters.
yeah. Which it's like that's our job, and we need to figure it out, or we should be playing it. That's the way I've
I
always
agree.
looked at it. You know.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
the
That's what I looked at
thing,
too. If I needed a click to keep me on time, then something's wrong with me.
exactly. And my
Yeah.
thing is, it's like 99% of people listening to the song aren't going to realize it speeds up or slows down anyway. They really won't.
No.
The
No.
non-musicians are
But
not going to notice it. So
well, exactly. But and that to me that gives the song like
it's,
breathing and you
yeah,
know.
yeah, it lets it have its own voice. Like, who
Yeah.
cares? Like, I don't care. You know,
Yeah. I
I
don't.
like to hear it. Some like I know Vinnie Paul never used a click.
Hmm.
It's like his timing was freaking amazing, live
Yeah.
and in studio. It's like,
Yeah.
argue that. Neil Peart, John Bonham, all of them,
Yeah.
Ringo,
Danny
all of
Carey.
them.
Saw an
Danny,
interview with Danny Carey where he talked
you,
about he doesn't use a
yeah,
click.
I heard that he's like, how the hell does he even use a click? You
Right.
can't
How would you?
program it. like,
Yeah.
like, you especially like the new one where it's Tempest and stuff. Like, how the fuck you putting a click to that? Good
I don't
luck.
even. Yeah. I don't even know how the fuck that he plays that shit, let alone put a click to it.
Yeah,
I can't even follow
yeah,
what he's doing.
no, yeah.
It's
Don't give me that
amazing.
click thing. So, anyway, double pedal or double kick, which I'm
I've never used either, so I've
oh,
always been single. Yeah.
nice. It's good.
I would if I was gonna do it, I would use double pedal though. I wouldn't have two kick drums, but just me.
Okay. Nylon or wood tip?
Wood. I used nylon when I first started out, and the way I batched the ride cymbal, that shit would like break apart and hit me in the eye and stuff. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Wood tips.
Odd time or 4/4?
Hmm. I mean, I'm really good at 4/4. I can play some odd times, but when they get too off the charts,
Yeah.
like the Danny Carey stuff that we just talked about, I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I had this guy one time playing me freeform jazz. Have you ever listened to this shit?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm going, where the fuck is the one? And how does this guy know where he's playing and what the fuck is going on with this? Like it like broke my mind. I'm like, I can't even listen to it. Turn it off.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I like. Have you ever heard of Meshuggah, the like death metal band?
Yeah, I've heard that
They're
name.
like
Yeah.
death
Yeah.
metal freeform jazz almost, where it's like
Oh
I don't even
shit.
know where we're at anymore. Like this
Right.
is insane. Like
Yeah.
I stopped counting long ago. I don't even know where we're at anymore. This is cool. It's fun, but I
Yeah.
have no idea what's going on anymore. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's very much like that. Big drum kit or small drum kit?
I've used, you know, a 5 piece forever. So I mean, I like small drums, drum kit. I don't
Cool.
need many drums. I like more cymbals than drums, but
Heel up or heel down?
I got to think how I do that. So I'm barefoot. I think I'm heel up. I'm
You do
heel up.
heel
Yeah.
up a lot. Yeah,
Hmm.
you'll do it down, bring it down every once in a while, but it depends on what you're doing. Because I watched some of your videos and stuff like you
Okay.
know,
Well, then you know better than me. I
yeah.
never really paid attention to tell you
When
the
you're
truth.
doing triplets and stuff on the kick drum, you tend to do heel down, heel up on those, which I think is
Okay.
natural anyway. You have to kind of do that with a
Right. Right. Well, thank you for telling me.
yes. And studio or playing live?
Oh, playing live. Studio is, especially with maybe the way we made the first 4 records, it was like, we'd play live in studio. Like we rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed and then went and cut live like that. Mostly to get the drums, mainly to get the drums. And that's just a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
And
Did you guys do a lot of your recordings live, or did you do them separately once the song was kind of put together?
we'd put the song together, rehearse it live, and then go in the studio and play it. So like Mental Jewelry, Throwing Copper, we did a lot of pre-production with Jerry Harrison. Um, Secret Samadhi, we did a lot of pre-production with Jay Healy was the producer on that, and then we did a lot of pre-production again with Jerry for Distance to Hear. And then 5, we started kind of like Ed. 5 is when Ed went to Chad and said he didn't want to write to his ideas anymore, which is a whole
Yeah.
bullshit thing in and of itself. And so 5 started the reign of Ed would bring a song kind of arranged already and like, here, just play to this. And that's when I started playing to a click, mostly because he would lay it to a click. So, but yeah,
Okay.
live, I'd rather play live than the studio.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Awesome. Is there anything you have coming out that you could talk about?
But I mean, no, we just
No?
podcast every Tuesday.
Podcast? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a day job?
No, I'm an entrepreneur, so I have a couple things going on, but I
Okay.
don't have a job that I go to. No.
I wish we didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah. Unfortunately, got to do something, right?
for sure. And any endorsers or anything you need to mention?
Well, I'm with DW now. Um,
Me too.
DW ProMark, Zildjian, and Evans Heads.
Okay.
They've been my endorsees for a long time, or endorsers, yeah,
Endorsers.
endorsers for forever.
We all work
DW
together
is,
anyway. So
yeah, exactly. DW was the newest one. I went with DW in 18 because I'd been with Pearl my whole career, and in 17 I went to Pearl. We hadn't played, obviously, we hadn't been together for since 2009 for a few years. And
Right.
so I went to the new Pearl rep who I'd never met before, and I'm like, hey, I'd like to get a set. And I just wanted I wanted to get a red acrylic set. I thought it'd be cool to have acrylic.
yeah.
And that's like, no, the cheapest set that Pearl makes, or one of them. And he was like, yeah, we get you the set. It's gonna cost this. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I don't mean to sound like
Right.
No,
Hey,
no,
boastful
no, no, no.
but it
When
was
you're a
just a
lifer,
surprise. Yeah.
yeah.
I'd been with them forever, and then he was like, "Hey, you got to pay for the set." I'm like, "Really? Like, I haven't gotten a set from you guys since 2002. We're back together, reuniting, and I have to pay for drums now?" I was like, "I don't like that." So I had my manager go try to find a DW contact. And he found Garrison at DW, and they were like, "Dude, come on over." And he gave me a black. I forget what the series is called. It's like their kind of lower series to as like a temporary kit until they made my custom red sparkle kit. And they've been great. So the Garrison was fucking awesome. So I was like, yeah, the DW guy. Plus, I got to tour the factory in
Yeah,
Camarillo, where I think it's Camarillo,
yeah.
and that was really cool to see all the drums made. And
The guy
yeah,
that designs them does some crazy shit
oh
too.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
John. Well, I forget his last name, but he's they call him the Wood Whisperer because
Yes. Yeah.
he's wild.
John Good.
I
Good.
think it's John Good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
So.
he has the guy that designs like he like did Neil's sets and stuff like that where
Hmm.
he lays down like the gold and all. That's just
Oh yeah, I
what
work.
they're
You're
doing.
talking about the guy that actually does the design work on the
Yeah, I
drums.
think he's
Yeah,
Hispanic.
I met him too.
Yeah, Ramirez or something, or I think is
So,
his
yeah,
something like that.
he's a
Yeah, he.
Latino guy.
Excuse me
Yeah.
for forgetting his name. He's a legend with drum
Yeah.
making.
Hmm.
But
And it
yeah,
sucks because we lived in San Luis Obispo for a few years
Mm.
and we never went over there and toured it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I would have loved.
it's definitely cool. It was cool to watch all the
To.
shells being made, and
Yeah,
how they do the crisscross patterns with
the
the grains of the
vertical.
wood. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's wild. I was like,
stitching.
this,
Yeah,
you just think, oh, you look at a like a pearl set, and it's just you just see plies in there, and I
yeah.
think they just wrap the plies. But with DW, they crisscross the grains and put them vertical and horizontal and diagonal. It's like
Yeah, they
fucking
use like
wild.
banana tree wood and all
Yeah.
kinds of crazy stuff.
Yes.
And he'll knock on the side of it and get the timber of it and stuff. And I was like, wow, that's just
Yeah.
someone that puts that much effort into each drum and each tree and all that stuff. And yeah,
Hmm.
I love my DWs too. Like there's
Yeah.
just, I mean, there's nothing that, in my opinion, there's nothing that sounds better for drums. So
I agree. Yeah, and I've been using DW snare stand forever because I didn't like any Pearl snare stand, so
mm,
I like their hardware as well. So,
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's most of my hardware is that or Gibraltar,
hmm
So I still love the Gibraltar stuff too, because it's
I've never
inter.
used Gibraltar, but I was like pure Pearl guy forever, just using
Yeah,
Pearl and
yeah,
except for that DW stand, but I never used Gibraltar, but I know they make good stuff.
yeah. I like theirs because it's interchangeable with other companies, so I could put like a
Oh, that's cool.
DW wing nut on a Gibraltar cymbal stand, stuff like that. It's all which I like that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, and we always want to make sure like anyone needs to get their endorsers, whatever, out of the way, just in case,
Right.
because
Yeah.
if they listen to it like, hey, he didn't talk about whatever, and I just like to do that. It's
Yeah, that's
important.
cool.
I I,
Yeah,
I
no problem.
understand the importance because I have the same thing. I've drumstick companies and stuff like that that I like to mention too. So,
Cool.
and where can our listeners find you?
Well, let's see. So Instagram, I am the Chad Gracie. And on YouTube, I think I'm Chad Gracie Live. I gotta check. Let me look.
We'll put it all in our notes too. So
Yeah, mostly Instagram is kind of my main thing. I'm the Chad Gracie there, and then YouTube is Chad Gracie Live. Yeah,
okay.
those are the two biggest ones. I'm on Twitter on a limited basis. I don't really like Twitter that much, or
Same.
X, whatever it's called now.
Yeah,
X.
yeah. X. I'm the same. I think we're kind of cut out of the same cloth, all three of us. It's just like I just the in your face kind of I have to post all the time stuff. I just still don't
Yeah,
understand. Like
yeah.
I don't want people invading my privacy that much. I don't need to be on these all the time. And
Mm,
it's probably the good and the bad of it because I probably should be on there all the time to help
right.
us get more listeners and stuff too. But I don't know how to post. I'm still learning how to
All
do
right.
that.
Yeah.
It's so tricky.
Yeah.
So
I figured that. So
we
I
just
didn't have Instagram until 2018, and the only reason I got it is because everyone else in the band, we were on, doing our tours, and
yeah.
everyone was putting up their Instagram on the screen before the show, and I
Mhm.
didn't have one. They're like, "You got to get an
I
Instagram." I'm
put
like,
my
"Oh,
Instagram
okay,
up
what the?"
there.
Yeah, exactly. Like I needed an Instagram so I can tease all my old high school friends that said I couldn't be in the drum line. So,
Exactly. Yes.
but
Very cool.
yeah. Well, again, thank you so much
Thank
for
you. This
doing
is really
this.
You're very
cool.
It's
welcome.
like I said, I'm gonna use the term duck on a pond right now. Like I'm
Cool.
trying to keep my cool, but like you were such a huge inspiration. You still are,
Oh,
but
I appreciate it.
13 to 16 years old listening to throwing copper and secret samadhi and all that stuff and just listening to those I was playing those nonstop daily when I'd come home from school.
Cool.
I just
Yeah.
popped those records on and just played on my favorite tunes and
Hmm.
you were
I know the feeling. That's exactly
yeah
what I would do.
so
Yep.
thank you
Very
so much
cool.
for
Well,
that.
you're
Thank you
very
for
welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And then I look forward to having you guys on. So I didn't ask you any questions about what you got going on because I'm going to do that on my podcast.
okay, fair enough,
Very
fair
cool.
enough,
Thank
awesome,
you.
thank you. So that was our conversation with Chad Gracey. Sorry, I'm still getting used to this video thing. Um, again, that was a lot of fun. We got into a lot of stuff. The Marilyn Manson story was a lot of fun.
That was interesting.
Yeah, without getting too much into it, I've never been a big Manson fan anyway.
I
That didn't
know.
help, but
That sucks.
you know, yeah, it was very very interesting of a story. So there's one of those questions I always toy with taking out with people because a lot of tour a lot and it's just fun to hear some of those stories, getting lost in clubs and stuff like that, or arena or whatever you're playing, and just go left and then right and then right and then left, and you'll be around the
And then
stage,
you
and
go
then
right outside to
and
the
then
alley or
and then
something.
you close a door that you can't open from the outside or
Mhm.
something, and yeah,
Yeah,
so that was fun. Again, just getting to talk to them was amazing. The fact that they asked us to be on their podcast is really cool.
it's really cool.
That's a lot of fun. We always tell people, ask us questions as we go, but now, we understand that he didn't ask us questions
And
because we're
now we're
saving
going to
it.
be on the flip side of that next month.
Yeah, and I love that because
Yeah.
there's a lot less research and work I have to do. We'll listen to, some of their episodes as much as we can. I like to still be prepared.
Yeah.
I hate saying
For me, just as I age, I'm not quick on thinking, really.
on the thinking.
Thinking. Uh, yeah, I'm not like dead on things anymore.
Yeah.
And so just being on the spot like that, I'm like really relying on you because you're so quick with everything.
I can be. I have my moments. I have my old man moments every once in a while, especially when it comes to doing the online stuff and posting and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was again a lot of fun. I will always remember that. That was so much fun for me. Again, we talk about it that the whole competitive thing, as far as podcasting and stuff, and it's just it's one of those that it's good to work together. We're all on the
Hey,
same page, we're all doing the
we're
same
like
thing.
the Arizona wine industry. Everybody just
Yeah, everyone's cohesive, working together.
hey,
It's always gosh. Yeah, it's always fun to collaborate. That's the way I look at it is, we're taking what we do on our podcast and we're bringing it to someone else's. And this is the first time that we've ever been asked to be on another podcast officially. We have one that we're in the works with.
Yeah.
It just hasn't come about as far as a set date, time, and all that stuff.
This is our first time to do a video podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, that's my wedding ring.
Which that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To do, especially now that we know at least one of the people we're talking to,
Right.
and we'll do as much research on the other one as well.
And again, we're always promoting Arizona wine. Show the bottle.
Yeah.
Of what we're drinking.
I mean, we're in the whole room of where our wines are.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have another winery on here soon too.
Oh,
We have
that's gonna be
that.
a lot of fun.
We record these. We're pretty ahead right now.
We are.
Soon we're gonna
Knock on
be
wood.
knock on wood. Soon we're gonna be to like the new year, which is gonna be kind of nice because that always gets a little stressful anyway. It's good to be a little bit ahead because there's all of a sudden, hey, we're getting together for this on this day. And it's like, well, we have this and that going on, everything. So that's gonna be nice. But yeah, when we're recording this, which you heard me talk about, we're by the time this plays and this airs, we'll be well past the 17-year anniversary of me seeing live. But that was really cool being the day before the 17-year anniversary of me seeing them
Yeah.
downtown Phoenix. It's
Yeah.
just crazy.
You're lucky that you got to see them. I never got to see them.
Yeah, I saw them with Collective Soul, which is a really cool bill. Because I wanted to see both anyway. I just seen them individually, but
the
they were
one thing
together.
we didn't touch on is that Chad also had a side band called the Gracious Few,
Gracious Few.
which was some of the members of Live and some of the members of Candlebox, and I was a huge Candlebox fan too.
Yeah.
And it sucks because on Spotify they only have one song. And it
Yeah.
was really good. So it's like one of those merges like Army of Anyone. It's like where these two great bands come together.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can, bring it up on theirs.
Or when we make a Zia trip, we'll just see if they have it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, now that we're listening to CDs again, now that we got the new setup and everything, and that's been a lot of fun picking out stuff.
Yeah.
Which we talked about earlier in the intro.
Yeah, and so this time around we still have Live in the rotation. We have a 5-disc changer, old school.
I want to get a 50 so we can just load it up.
That would be awesome.
It's the next thing I want to do.
Yeah. And so this time around, we have Tori Amos in there, which you're not super familiar with.
No, Mick Foley introduced me
Yeah.
for sure.
And we have
Big Mick Foley fan.
Chevelle. in
Mick Foley,
there.
if you want to come on, we'd love to have you.
That'd be awesome. And we might be able to
I bet we could.
get that
Yeah.
on the Tori spelling or the Tori Amos angle. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
Who knows?
Like we
Maybe.
said earlier, just
Yeah.
reach out.
Yeah.
That's how
So
we got.
we were
Did
going
great
through the
chat
box
Gracey.
and I'm like, Chevelle, I'm gonna make you listen to Chevelle. So, but the first song came on, I'm like, cool, Chevelle. You're like, this is Chevelle.
Yeah, I don't
They
know what
just-
happened that night.
They play live. That's what they do. They play. And you wanted a show. And they didn't.
Well,
give a
when
shit.
you're in between Nothing More and Disturbed, you got to put on a show.
Yeah.
So, because
But-
those other two bring it.
Their music's good. And I'll stand by that.
Sure. Yeah. And then we have the Last Rush album on there.
Because that's the tour we saw
What was the
together.
fifth one we put in? I don't remember. Anyway, we're getting there.
We were gonna put in Tony Levin and Stevens, Fazio Levin Stevens,
Fuzzy 11 Stevens.
but you didn't have room for it. We kept live in. We
Yeah.
did Tori Amos.
Right.
We did Chevelle. We did Rush.
Oh, Montrose.
Montrose. That
Montrose,
was
the
it.
first Montrose. Yeah. That's why not. Yeah.
Yep.
Try to listen to stuff, but we haven't listened to it in a while. So, but anyway, again, they say don't meet your heroes. Chad Gracey is the exception to that rule.
Yeah.
Because he was amazing. And we talked about it. Just never hurts to just reach out to people. They had a guest on, like we said, we'll talk about now, that they had on
Larry Hankins. Yeah.
Larry Hankin, and he's the one he's in Billy Madison. He's the one that says that Billy asked him, "You do a really good thing," and he does it.
Yeah.
He's in Planes,
He
Trains,
was
and
the cab
Automobiles,
driver and the lowrider.
yeah, and the
in
Planes, Trains,
and Automobiles.
which we watch every Thanksgiving. Which I think we've talked about many times on
Yeah.
here. He was in Seinfeld.
I think he was in Friends. He was the neighbor upstairs also.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we talked about that, which that was a lot of fun to listen to. Because I'm a big fan. I would love to have him on actually, just to talk about the Billy Madison thing. Just how that went. Or Adam Sandler's first big movie and where he was at then, where he is now, and all that other stuff. And yeah, so that was really cool. But again,
And
just amazing.
Again, this is
just weird. I'm getting used to the video, so
oh yeah. So this
usually
is,
we're looking at each other when
Yeah.
we're doing this. We're kind of turned like this.
so
and
this is our first video. This is us.
yeah, this is
Hello.
yeah. So hopefully be doing more of these. I keep talking about it every season. Like, hey, we're gonna do YouTube, and
And
we
I'm
have
like-
nothing on there.
I'm like, I don't want to do video. I don't like the way I look. I don't want to be on video. But
Yeah.
here we are. We're on video. This is us.
We're gonna try it. Yeah. So
Yeah.
So thank you for
With
putting
our
up with
wine.
this.
So you hear us
Um,
talking about our wine. We do drink
If
our
you put on
wine.
the YouTube thing in the first intro segment, you just don't like it, just skip forward to the conversation we have with
Sure.
Chad,
I'm okay with that.
and then go to audio on Spotify or something, listen to it. That's perfectly fine. We won't take it personal. We get it. Yeah. Yeah. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Just, the whole Wizard of Oz thing. Just either way, listen to us, follow us, subscribe, all that good shit. So
yeah.
yeah.
Don't forget to
Now the intro and outro music is going to be interesting for video. It might not be on here. I'm going to see what I can
oh,
do.
Interesting. Yeah.
The ads as well. I'll see what I can
That would
do.
be fun to do a video for our intro song. That'd be interesting, right?
We could look into that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. We'll
We
get
could,
in
like,
touch with Matt,
Jump
do a video,
and dance in a fountain like on Friends or something.
or I'll reach out to Matt to do a video. We'll do a goofy video for it. That'd be fun. But yeah, that's the only thing I don't know. What we'll go from go from there on.
So I usually say intro and outro music is provided by Arizona prog metal band Temporal Displacement, which is Justin's band.
I mean, I could always bring out a speaker and put it on the video later on.
Right.
I can't figure it out. But yeah.
They are on Spotify, Apple, wherever you find your favorite music. They have the new album out. It's really, really cool. It's a concept album about the Spartacus War. If you're not familiar with it, Google it.
Which it was fun when Chad was talking about history and all that
Yeah.
stuff too. And I was like, oh yeah, I love
We
history.
do
I love
have
all
the
that
pup
stuff.
in here with her squeaky toy.
Yep, she's found her squeaky toy.
You can find us on Instagram,
Facebook,
and YouTube at Drumming Up Conversation, and on X.
Whoosh.
People can see that live now.
Yep.
At Drum
Drum
Conversing.
Conversing.
Our email
Because they need
address.
to up their letters you can use. I was like, I had to get creative with it. So
Right.
hi, sweetie.
You can email us at drummingupconversation@gmail.com. And of course, listen to our podcast at Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your favorite
Watch it on
podcasts.
YouTube,
Watch
hopefully.
on YouTube.
Fingers crossed. Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, follow us, pass it on to a friend, all that good stuff. And this is Grenache.
Grenache, she finally made an appearance fully. So hi, squeak, squeak.
Follow us for her, if nothing else.
Yeah, maybe she'll be a superstar on here.
Yeah.
For Drumming Up Conversation, I'm Justin Wood.
I'm Andrea Wood.
No mercy.